Here on the open window, I wanted to talk about more about the cost of living versus wages. And encumbrance in that is basically the theatre of PMQs, which happens every Wednesday at noon, the where we have to listen to the theatre basically of it. It's a joke, really. The Prime Minister gets questions in advance, and then his team or her team, but his team in this case, or it could be a she he, or for what people say about him. The and the response, the and you know, it is interesting in some respects, but it's just a weekly spectacle. They all like each other, crossbenchers and the like. 80% of them probably go out to dinner with each other. It's a joke, you know. They have rehearsed lines, probably even I would suggest, I guess, pre-written outrage, and even probably timed applauses. I don't know. Just looks like it, to be honest. Smirks at the right time because they know the camera's on them. Objections at the right time because they know the camera's on them. Waving their hand at the right time because they know the camera's on them. And the thing is, whilst they spar through that, this is what gets me is that people outside those walls are living very differently and a different reality. Because they can go to the bar, use the company credit card, which is your credit card, and go and have a drink, food, whatever. David Lammy is one of the worst for that, by the way. You should look at his expense account. It's unreal. As I did a post earlier, the cost of living isn't rising quarterly or annually, it's rising daily. This is something that someone said to me earlier today. Even sunrise feels like another bill that has ground teeth. A woman was crying to me a few weeks ago, saying that she hates going to the food bank because she feels guilty, and it was really sad, really sad. The cost of living is a massive issue. It's a massive issue, and it's outpacing wages by a massive scale. The wages, in my opinion, is not the issue. It's the cost of living. Wages are not moving. They sit there frozen while the cost of living is like completely outracing them. And in my opinion, even when raises do rise, and even when even politicians proudly announce a percentage increase, what does it achieve? If the cost of living is outpacing wages by massive percentages, and it's not progress. It's not progress. It's survival on a countdown clock, and it's serious. I heard Keir Starmer say that we're going to reduce your utility bills by 10%. Yet they increased them by 70% in the space of, what, 2 years? What is 10% going to do when your wages has increased by, I don't know, if you're lucky, a couple of percent? And apparently we should be grateful. The guy's a nut job. Whole Parliament is a nut job. David Lamon's an idiot as well. You know, restaurant prices are increasing. You know, even myself, I have to question going out to restaurants, and it's now seen as a treat. I never would ever have avoided it as a treat before, but that's what I do. You know, when we look at inflation, it's cooling. I mean, that's a fascinating subject in itself, inflation. Um, while the price of milk, bread, rent, fuel, council tax, insurance, childcare, you know, that's just to name a few. You know, it really isn't stability, prosperity. It's not leadership. You look at the Andy Burnham saga at the moment. You got 7 prime ministers in 10 years, and all that's happened is they've shoved in more legislation to impact our lives and control us. And trust me, I'm saying this on the 24th of June. We're going to have so much crammed in the short space of time before His Royal Highness Keir Starmer leaves. It's going to be unreal. The thing that I don't like as well is the protesting that we see on the streets. It just shows the unrest. One side shouts at another, one shouts back. The police are there to try and, you know, enforce the law or the peace of the land and that sort of thing. But it's all government orchestrated. It is. It's led by the narrative they put out. If you look at my previous video that I posted today, it's so true. The Speaker of the House, for example, pretends to be in control. The benches ward like a pantomime audience, and we have to watch the performance that is nothing to do with the lives that we actually live. I mean, I was watching today, sadly, I have to confess I do watch. Oh, would the Prime Minister congratulate such and such? Huh? I'm thinking, you've done an event, and it's obviously a good event. What is that about? What about your constituents? You've probably got homeless people. You've got people that go into food banks and that sort of stuff. Why does he need to congratulate on an event? I know it's a positive thing. I get that bit, right? But what about all the indifferences in your community? And you come to Parliament saying, "Would you like to pat me on the back for an event that I organised?" The cost of living is the biggest issue that we've ever faced in our society, outside of illegal immigration. It's something I've never experienced before. And they all Ponzi around. Oh, would the Prime Minister like to agree with this? I mean, he don't give a toss anyway. He's leaving, and he's going to try and pass through as much stuff as possible. And then the new Prime Minister will come in and say, "We're going to have change. We're going to have change." The economy is screwed beyond belief. But we're going to have change. But be positive. Be positive. Teletubbies may be coming back.